for supporting the network, brother. Hey, listen, it's a double header of hype this Thursday at Buddy's Pizza. Catch the Pistons pregame, watch party, and postgame show, and our NFL Draft live show. All going down at Buddy's Pizza on Broadway Street in downtown Detroit. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. with wall-to-wall coverage, a great atmosphere, and that legendary Buddy's Golden Crust. Oh, man, I might have to get some of that for lunch today. But come for the pick, stay for the pizza, and rep the D like only you can. Woodward Sports Network, Buddy's Pizza, this Thursday night. What up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and, I'm feeling more and more hyped as we're getting closer to more of what April and the D is going to look like for the foreseeable future. It's going to be a lot of playoff basketball, hopefully playoff hockey in the future. We're going to have good Detroit Tigers baseball leading out in this division, and the Lions are always going to find a way to be in the news, and it's awesome that this draft and them picking at 28 and there not being all of this fanfare about them being a top 10 pick, it just proves the health of this organization. It's a beautiful feeling, man. It really is. But absolutely. We got those playoff Pistons to talk about, and one Malik Beasley, that sixth man of the year. I don't know, man. It's something doesn't sit right. And I sent the graphic to the Wake Up Woodward Slack, JB Smooth, that has a comparison between effectively Malik Beasley's season and the season that one Peyton Pritchard had. Peyton Pritchard had a hell of a season. For sure. I can't hate on him for the season that he had, but I do believe the impact that Malik Beasley played and having this team go from 14 to 44 wins, 30 win improvement, a historic jump. I just believe that should have been honored, especially since he did the work. He put up the stats, and he was a big part of the reason why. Whereas Pritchard, a lot of the opportunities he's going to have is going to be because of, in my opinion, he's playing with an all-star cast.
Well, and that's the thing. What do we talk about in the offseason? That Cade Cunningham needed more shooting around him. And I personally think that one of the biggest reasons why the Pistons were able to take the jump in wins that they did, and don't get me wrong, there were a ton of them, is the fact that Malik Beasley was arguably the most effective three-point shooter in all of the NBA, certainly in terms of off-ball three-point shooting. I mean, he was second, period, to Anthony. He didn't get that. To me, that's almost as big a snub of any of them. It should have absolutely been Malik Beasley.
I feel like what's loading right now is we're going to be sitting here saying the same thing about JB Bickerstaff once the Coach of the Year race is announced. And we're going to be sitting here looking at all of our players being effectively passed over. But this is what we know. This team and this city and the ones that effectively climb to the top, to the precipice, it's because they're able to take these chips, put them on their shoulders, carry that weight along with, we got to get Detroit back to the top. So it's like you want to piss these guys off. You want to snub these guys right now. I'm hoping that this is the perfect thing to help Malik Beasley break out of not just a two-game playoff slump, but really a career-long playoff slump. Because the Detroit Pistons, they're going to need what he brings to the table. But I know you said we got the legend on the line. Yeah, we do. Hey, let's rock. The legend. Oh, I was about to say Detroit News Rod Beard. Can't say that anymore. But you know what? The legend, formerly known as Detroit News Rod Beard, is joining us now. He's now the senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. What up, though, Rod?
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, and we can hear you just fine, Rod. And we're sitting here right now talking about these playoff Pistons, and I want you to just kick it off with Rod's thoughts, even if that includes a little bit of this Malik Beasley talk, but just overall, the Pistons win their first playoff game in 17 years, Rod.
I mean, it really should be up 2-0 if we're being real about it. Let's keep it a buck. Game one was just the anomaly, and game two is the one where they really put it together, and if they had to hold on in the last couple minutes, that's fine, but they got the split that they needed, and they're coming home with a chance to win two more games.
Yeah, and they've done this largely game two with their identity, and I'm seeing a lot of people out there, including in Knicks Nation, these guys are freaking out about Coach Tibbs right now and Karl Anthony Towns. They're wondering if these guys have the ability to make the adjustments and to reach effectively the level that the Pistons are playing at. The Pistons stepped out there in game 2, and Cade Cunningham looked like they knew from the get-go. They dropped one. They let the Knicks, I forget who said this in our chat, but that they let the Knicks steal a game in New York. And game 2 looked more like the identity that we've seen the Pistons win a lot of games this year with, including against the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the smothering defense, getting out in transition, and Cade Parker Cunningham on a break behind the back and just dunking on people. I mean, that was just insane. That was the point where I was like, okay, this dude is ready for the playoffs. This stage is not too big for him. And I think what we saw in game 1 was the stage was a little bit too big, and the bright lights and everything that's going on, that if you have that big a lead, you got to close that game out. And with their youth and inexperience, that's what they didn't know how to do. But if you can figure it out between game 1 and game 2, you're still in this series. And they say a series doesn't really start until a team wins on the road. The series doesn't start until a team starts complaining about the officiating, and that's Tibbs immediately just, well, if Cade is getting those calls, then Brunson should be getting those calls. Not necessarily. If Cade's not flopping around like a freaking fish out of water, Jalen Brunson looked like a goldfish that just jumped out the bowl and just flopping on the ground and flapping all over everywhere for everything.
Dog, Rod. Rod bringing the heat all the time, man. I'm so glad that we still have the legend on with us. And there's a lot of fans out there in Knicks world who are crashing out right now. There's a lot of fans in Pistons world who are saying gentleman sweep. Based off your perspective and what you've seen so far in the Pistons, taking home court advantage, which way do you see this thing trending?
Yeah, I think it still goes 7. I think the Knicks still have a little bit of another gear that they can get to. And the Pistons have to figure out how to manage Jalen Brunson. And it was Asar. When Asar was on him, he was like in a box. He could not figure out how to go left, how to go right. And he was like a mime in a box, just trying to put his hands up and to do anything. But then he found space to flop around, and like that was disgraceful. Some of the stuff in the officiating on Asar is like he's on him. He's guarding him. He's not killing that man, but you want to officiate it like he touched him, so that's a foul. And the Cade fouls were the same sort of way. So I think that's why Tibbs wanted to complain a little bit more, was to continue getting some of those calls. But you can't make that comparison between the way that Cade was playing, and Cade is getting a TSA pat down, and Jalen Brunson is sitting here not even getting touched, and he's flopping around like he's been assaulted and battered. It's crazy.
Rod, with the fact that the Pistons did their job, they went to New York and got the split, how confident are you that the Pistons will be able to win this series?
I think they're right there. If there's any series that has captivated the country and the experts are looking at it and saying, this team might be in trouble, the higher seeded team might be in trouble, it's this one. It's not even like the Lakers in Minnesota. This is the one where the Knicks look like they should win. The Pistons haven't even been on this stage in such a long time. But I think people are worried now. People in Knicks land are worried, and the national media that's been behind the Knicks for so long, they're worried right now because they haven't paid attention to the Pistons all year, and now they have to. And they see that these guys are game. Cade is game. Cade is right there and wants seating for 5 in the smoking section for whatever. Holland is there. All of those guys are ready for this moment. And we talked about Tobias early in the year. Tobias is playing like that? Come on, yeah, we can. This is something that can be done.
Yeah, Rod, so how critical is it for the Pistons to win Game 3? Do you think that that's the type of game that can swing the series, or are you more in line with win 1 of 1 at home and you should be fine anyway?
I think Game 3 is the one they need because it gives them the momentum. And even if they lost Game 4, it would still say, hey, we were in control of this series and we should be winning this series 3-1. If the Knicks somehow start to gather that momentum by winning Game 3, they could feel like they could win Game 4 and close out at home. But, yeah, I think that the Game 3 and just getting the crowd on your side and feeling that energy and turning that into a dub is important.
It definitely is. And it's interesting when you kind of look at the foul situation here, it's pretty even for them to be complaining about fouls in the playoffs where everybody says going in, well, we know that they're going to swallow their whistle a little bit more. We know that we have to step up and meet the level of physicality. this is why I'm so glad that the Detroit Pistons brought in a JB Bickerstaff who instilled this aspect of playing playoff-style basketball all season. Even if you don't reach the standard, in a win we saw, and that's going to be a consistent refrain for me, JB Bickerstaff stepped to the table and continued to push this team's ceiling a little bit higher. And we saw it all season. We were so pumped to get on here early in the season and talk about postseason Pistons as soon as they hit the 10th seed. And then when we realized, wait, this team is absolutely blowing through all of the expectations that anybody really had set for them all season, that's where you start to realize this team is built for a little bit more, and JB has intentionally used that phrase all season. About after the All-Star break, no. We're building for the playoffs. The vets have said it. Tobias and Malik in the last press conference we got with them here at practice, they stated it. Our goal from the season was playoffs. He said to him and Tobias in the door, they were like, nah, bro, we have no intentions of anything. We're losing that draft pick effectively. And that's where this team's mindset and mentality is, to the point that what should oftentimes probably be set or be a lot of pressure in these playoff games against a young team, it really hasn't done that. There was one moment that was a little too big for them, and it looked like they learned from that quickly. And a lot of that, I believe, does have to do with how JB Bickerstaff has positioned them and turned up the physicality, turned up the edginess, turned up pushing teams. What did he say? Our job, because we're built for this, is to push these other teams into out of characterness. And what do we already see the Knicks doing? We see Jalen Brunson. He's having to veil some of his comments. We're seeing, Coach Tibbs step to the podium and cry about fouls, and it's just Game 3 ahead of us already. They got them a little frazzled.
Yeah, and we talked about Karl Anthony Towns and maybe playing on the perimeter, and we're seeing Tobias be able to kind of guard him with some help later on once he gets in the paint. But we had talked about Duren and Stewart and everybody else. I don't think we had Tobias on the list of guys who would be guarding Cat, and Cat hasn't really gone off yet. But when you look at this Pistons roster, all the way down, playoff Paul is coming in and playing with intensity. Holland is playing with intensity. Asar defending with intensity. This is something that's instilled. It tells you that it's not one or two players that are ready to go. It's everybody up and down that roster that is ready to go from jump to play at a playoff level.
Man, yep. And Rod, just really quickly, Detroit is going to be absolutely jumping tonight, but I'd be remiss if I didn't just ask you something just briefly on the Detroit Lions. How are you feeling about this draft ahead for them? And just, is it edge for you, trenches for you, or do you see there being a chance? It's Peter Schrager. He got the Lions taking Will Johnson. I had to get your take on this Michigan man.
I think there's a chance, but you loaded up on the cornerback spot last year, and if you're just doing it for depth, then fine. But I think you're okay there. You need an edge, and unless you're going out and getting something else, you have to address the edge position. And unless you feel like it's a guy who's not going to be able to jump in and help immediately, that would be the reason that you go out and get somebody else at another position. But yeah, I think edge is absolutely it, and there's some options in this draft that can help you.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, you know what, Rod? Do you have a little time for a couple swish or brick questions?
Yes, I can do a couple of swish or break.
I don't know if you're in the office or not. I know we can say it over here. Swish or break time. Wait, it's not official until we see the graphic.
Throw that beautiful graphic up, JB.
Swish or break.
My dog.
Hey, KG, feel free to rearrange, rewrite, edit, spice up however you feel.
Yeah, no, you was cooking with these. Kool-Aid has 4. I'm only going to try to add 1. So, Rod, if you have time, we got 5 total.
Yeah. And whenever
we'll
you
try
have
and
to
get
dip,
through
Rod,
them all.
definitely just let us know, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get into it. Swish or brick or swish or break, whatever your preference. Number 1, Cade setting the table in the regular season Cade is setting the table in the regular season.
Basically, Cade setting the table in the regular season.
Okay, but game 2 is what Cade setting the table in the playoffs has to be for the Pistons to win. Swish or brick.
So basically, in game 2, you saw Cade Cunningham and Rod. We've talked about this a lot. Cade traditionally, even going back to college, has been a probe, looking for his teammates, a slow starter on offense. But every now and then you see what we saw in game 2. And in these playoffs, you saw an aggressive Cade Cunningham knock the New York Knicks on their heels early in this game. So we got two sides of Cade. In the regular season, the one that has probed more, but in game 2 where the Pistons had to get a win, we saw an aggressive Cade who was like F them assists effectively in the first half of the game, and he put a lot of pressure in the paint on the New York Knicks defense. But what say you, Flannel Sam?
I'm going to go Brick. I think it's game dependent. I think one of the reasons why Cade had to take on the load of scoring was the fact that Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley weren't making open threes that they usually make more often than they did in game 2. I think in game 3, coming back home to LCA, you're not going to see the combination of Beasley and Hardaway go 1 of 14 from behind the arc. And I think that will make it more conducive for Cade to get others involved, and the others will actually finish instead of Brick open threes. So give me Brick in totality because I think it's more game to game.
Yeah, what up, dog? JB Smooth.
On it, just the simple fact that it is game dependent. Sometimes Cade needs to be that all-star and just give you that 30 points. And I think he's seen that yesterday the other day for game 2, just because he's seen them down in that 1-0 hole and didn't want to go 2-0 coming back to LCA, because you know how intense that crowd can be at Madison Square Garden. So I just think it's game dependent on him as it is right now.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, what up, dog, KG?
Nah, absolutely. Cade has to be what he was in game 2. And we've talked about it before. You hate to ask him to take on more of a scoring load because of what he already has to do, but that's just what you got to do in the playoffs. You are a star. You are stepping into superstardom with your performance in the playoffs. If you got to take on more of the scoring load, that's what you got to do, man. You got to do whatever it takes for the Pistons to win.
And we know in those victories, the recipe for success for the Pistons has been Cade averaging over 30 points per game, and in Madison Square averaging actually 33 points a game. But Rod, Beard, what say ye?
I think it's game dependent too. He does what he needs to do, and when he saw that the other guys were not shooting well, he took over when he needed and did what he needed to do. And that's Cade. That's quintessential Cade. He doesn't have to be 30 points a game, but he can be when you need him.
Hey, and I see the people in the chat. Some of them are saying Swish. I'm seeing a little bit of support from Skydog, who says Brick, and I do.
Yeah.
You're right. The aspect of game dependency. But I think this is what Cade learned from game 1 to game 2, the aspect of urgency. And so if he understands, you know what, even if I believe maybe the next one could be down for my players, if I pass it off to them, I also see an opportunity for me to be able to get in and ensure this thing. Because who do I want shooting the ball more times than not on this team? It's going to be Cade Cunningham.
No,
if
absolutely.
he has that opportunity. I think Jalen Brunson kind of paved or set the blueprint in game 1. And Cade understanding how this game is going to be called, I think he matured very quickly between game 1 and game 2. His second playoff game,
right?
He took advantage.
And Cade's playmaking is going to be there. That's just who he is. But
hey guys, I do have to jump, so I will catch you guys next week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
Rod Beard, he is a senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Thank you for your time, Rod, and we'll definitely continue on with Swisher Break. But it's awesome to have a guy like Rod Beard who continues to give his time, continues to stay plugged with Detroit sports, continues to stay connected and tapped in with us. He understands that we're all perspiring media professionals, hopefully trying to get to a level that he's gotten to in this industry. So thank you, Rod Beard, for all your time, man. Thank you. But we'll definitely continue on.
Yeah, but I was just saying Cade's playmaking is going to be there. We all know that. But him scoring is definitely more important in this sense because he's your star player. And when he needs to take over games and in that department, he needs to do that. But number 2, Dennis Schroeder is the X factor in this series. Swish or Brick?
Yo, you already see the role he's played in game 2 from an offensive standpoint. And when you're talking about defensively, I believe he's done the second best job and maybe tied along with Asar Thompson. I think Asar has had actually Jalen Brunson in a little bit of jail, but I've appreciated the effort and the energy and the physicality and the fight that Dennis Schroeder has brought to the defensive end. I know we can sit and talk about everything he's done offensively as well as facilitating, because I do believe he is second on the team in the playoffs in assists.
Yeah.
But everything he's brought from that grit aspect that you need to pull out a 194 victory where it's low scoring, that to me is what stood out even more than the 20 points he scored.
Honestly, how can you say anything but Swish at this point after what he did in game 2? And I understand that going into this series, I wasn't saying that Dennis Schroeder is the X factor, but it was looking pretty bleak I'm not gonna lie. I understand that I'm always confident. I was confident, but when they tied up at 94, Dennis Schroeder needed a bucket in the worst way, and he just got it. And he's got a set of skills that only him and Cade really have in terms of his ball handling and distributing and be able to create his own shot. So you know what? For now, swish.
Hey, let's rock. JB Smooth, what up though?
Oh, this is complete swish for me. Dennis Schroeder's gonna be that sneaky
Anything
guy.
to not say Tobias Harris, huh?
Anything to not say Tobias Harris.
Hey, stop that shit, JB. We're not doing that. Cut it out.
Hey,
cut it out.
This Dennis Schroeder. He's gonna be your sneaky hero coming out of this series right now. I'm telling you right now. Even though Duren is still up there as your number 2 option, Schroeder is gonna be your sneaky option as well too.
Hey, KG, what up though?
Nah, this is a swish for me. And it's like you said, how can you really not say anybody else at this point? His defense has been slept on. And his defense has really been slept on most of the year, if you ask me, because we all knew he was going to come in and be a playmaker, and he was going to be somebody that at times can provide a source of points. But his defense has been so underrated for this team, and he shined in game 2, bro. And it's hard to really say. Tobias is more like, involved as the second or third option on this team, so I wouldn't view him as an X factor. But Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench absolutely is.
That's a really good distinction, because I know Dante151, he thought Brick. He thinks Tobias Harris, but Kavasi Chase, I know he's been working hard. He's getting those clips in. I don't want to interrupt sometimes, but both questions for you if you want. Kay Cunningham, you want to see him be more of what he was game 1, probing, or do you want to see him be that scorer? And then question 2 is Schroeder, that X factor.
I want to see more of Alpha Cade that we saw in game 2,
yes,
taking over, and then Schroeder. I don't think Schroeder is the X factor. I think it's gonna have to be someone like Tobias Harris continuing to step up.
Jay said that?
Did you see those rebound numbers?
Hey, he's been consistent.
Everything I've asked for from Tobias.
He's been consistent.
I've had a standard, I've had a bar, and it's been consistent the whole season with Tobias Harris, and he has played up to it. And I was critical when he was far below it, and he's been a little bit above it. So can't hate on it.
Chase really care about the rebounds, boy. If you're not crashing,
it's an effort thing, bro. It's an effort thing.
With them rebounds.
It's an effort thing. Go out there.
Oh shit, yo, stretch forward rebound.
Rebounds
is
and
crazy.
sundresses to him, bro.
Right, for real. But
I just wanted 6. Like, just average 6. Like that's, like you average.
Fair.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, it's fair.
Yeah.
he's been consistent. That's all I can say. JB, you cut that shit out over here. We're not playing that. Number 3, the Pistons can win this series with Malik Beasley slumping, swish or brick.
We've seen them lose a game, and he could have played a big role in them winning game 1 if he would have hit maybe 1 or 2 shots down the stretch. But we've also seen them now win a game with Malik Beasley still slumping. Hey, so what say ye, Flannel Sam? Malik Beasley, can the Pistons still win this? And he was, especially after Jaden Ivey went down, their second best scorer.
Brick. I know what you're doing, KG. I
didn't make this question.
That one was a me one. I was like, you know what? And I was gonna send you what
the Dennis Schroeder question
most
was mine.
Impactful player, just to mess with Rob. But this one was a me one. More for conversation piece.
Brick. You need him to shoot better moving forward. I know that they won game 2, but at the end of the day, you also held Karl Anthony Towns to, I think, an unsustainable level. And OG Anunoby didn't do a damn thing. Josh Hart didn't do a damn thing. You're going to need Malik Beasley in order to win this series. You may be able to get another game without him shooting well, but Beasley, to me, has to be a guy that in this series averages about 4 threes a game on at least 38 to 40%, or else they're doomed, which isn't. When I say doomed, I mean not win this series, but absolutely Malik Beasley needs to be better game 3, and he knows that, and he will be better.
Lorena Rio says cement block. Greg says Stones can still win. It's interesting. But what up, though, JB Smooth?
This is a brick. You need Beasley out there to be better on the floor. Hopefully he's not in a slump to where Riley Green is and you got Flannel coming on here crashing out, but you need him to shoot better. And maybe he's just saving up all his shimmies for LCA back here at this home series. So I'm hopeful of that for tomorrow.
Hey, what up though, Kavasi?
Oh, can I get the question one more time?
Hey, yeah, effectively.
Pistons can win the series with Malik Beasley slumping.
They won a game with him slumping. They lost a game with him slumping. This one is about the series.
If Stu's healthy, yeah, but I don't think you can compound Stu being injured and slumping Malik Beasley.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I've been screaming this shit from the hills, and y'all just ain't been listening. I'm the boy that cried wolf in this motherfucker, bro. I tried to tell y'all they can't survive. Now, it's in terms of the series, for one reason and one reason only. It's really because Tobias Harris has kind of really stepped up. If you can continue getting that scoring from him that he's been able to provide, then you can survive the series without Malik Beasley slumping. We do still have Tim Hardaway. We have some other options from shooting the 3-ball. Yes, you do need him to perform. I'm not saying that at all. And in terms of the next series, you absolutely need him in order to win that series. But in terms of this one, if you're playing the defense that you're playing and Tobias is balling like he is, you can survive without him going off. So that's just me.
Yeah, hey, and I think we got 2 more. Let's rapid fire those. I guess the second one, whichever one you put last, we'll have more conversation on.
Yeah, well,
because I know people want what's trending.
This one leads into my Jalen Duren propaganda. So Jalen Duren played well in game 2, but we still need more from him to win. Swish or brick?
Yep, and this is as it relates to the series overall. We saw Jalen Duren put up that playoff double-double. We saw him go and put up 4 stocks. But if you get those 18, 19, 13 double-doubles from him, 4 or 5 stocks per game, this gives the Detroit Pistons a sure advantage in the paint, especially while Stewart is nursing some injuries. But what say ye? You still need more out of Duren for this.
I think he is perfectly fine with where he was, especially with his rebounding, especially with his help defense. And if you have to finish a lob or some easy looks down low or some putbacks, he will be just fine. I was 100% happy with how Duren played.
I'm intrigued by some of the answers coming in, man. Eric Minion Sr. says swish, mitten made, wet swish, hoof-hearted, moist swish.
Okay.
Freaky. People think that they need to see a little bit more to Duren for them to win this series. What say you, JB Smooth?
I think I got to decide with them. Swish. I need more Duren in this game or in the rest of the series. I don't know what's the status on Beef Stew as it is right now, but you're going to have to be that bully for a cat right now. Learn something from Beef Stew. Irritate this man so much, and you know what? I just need more boards, more points, which I know you can do. So just be positive, man, and keep it going.
Hey, what up, though, brother? Kavasi and Chase?
I'm going to say Brick. I think what he's doing now is all right. I think just continue to be consistent, be tough defensively, and just, like a physical presence in the paint and at the rim. I think, if he plays, I agree with Sam, if he plays like he did in game 2, obviously I wouldn't mind him maybe a little bit more scoring, but 13 rebounds, dominating the interior, I'm not going to hate on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm seeing here in the chat as we, before I get you answer, KG.
Yeah.
Terrell Lamar, Jalen needs to score more. Charles McClain, Brick. Honestly, I almost want him to just go get more rebounds.
Yeah, that's
I saw
really
how much
what
him
I
getting
want,
the rebounds affected things, and how much how much it took away the opportunities for the Knicks to have second chance opportunities or to get their breaks started. I just want him to go out there and do the dirty work stats a little bit more. Get your hands active in the passing lanes more. Be a presence at the rim. Make sure that those role players who had a nice time getting to the rack in the first game are actually feeling a little bit less comfortable doing that. I kind of want to see that a little bit more. I mean, I'm not going to be mad at more scoring, but I kind of want to see him do the bully stuff a little bit more too.
All he needs to do is stay between 12 and 17 points. Nobody called for 25 and 18, Sam. But if he stays between 12 and 17 points, and I want more rebounds and more stocks. That's what it is. But can he step it up a little bit more? I would say yes. I would say swish.
What did he have? Was it 3 steals, 1 block?
Yeah, the three blocks, 1 steal.
3 blocks, 1 steal, and that's kind of the skew that I want. If you're gonna have 4 stocks as a big, definitely.
No, that's great.
That's
for sure.
That's it. But it is the playoffs, and we know that those players, those guys, those ones, they do step up just a little bit. But I do believe for his first playoffs as a young player, regardless of being a young player, that was a solid double-double, especially when you include the 4 stocks.
Great game 2 from Duren. Couldn't have asked for anything more.
Yeah.
Hey, let's rock.
All right, and our last one. Pistons win game 3, all caps, they win the series. Swish or brick?
Hey, listen, right now the Detroit Pistons have control of home court, and if they win game 3, they put the New York Knicks on their heels completely. You're talking about a team that has effectively taken the momentum, and aside from effectively the last 8 minutes of the 9 minutes of the fourth quarter have really control of the first game, have largely controlled this series, and they already have the Knicks asking some questions. You already got the OG Anunoby was swarmed. I don't know if y'all saw that, about what you gonna do about Cade, what you gonna do about Cade, what you gonna do about every one of his answers was, well, they just did a lot of things to get him off my body. They just did a lot of things to get him off my body. They did a lot. We're gonna watch the film. Yes, we gotta answer. You can tell that they're starting to get a little agitated because they came into the season with, how do we stop Cade?
Yeah.
Game 3 could make all of that amplify just a little bit more, give the Pistons all the momentum they need to send the finishing blows.
I'm gonna
Flannel Sam style.
I'm gonna go Brick. I think Game 3, both things can be true. I think if they lose Game 3, they won't win, but I don't think a Game 3 win is a guaranteed finish off of the series. I think if you win Game 3, it's more of you got to do your job and win Game 4, because if you split at home, obviously the Pistons have shown that they can go on the road to New York and win, but that gives advantage Knicks. That gives them feeling good about themselves in this series again. However, one caveat I will give is that the Knicks, are we sure that they're going to be they're mentally prepared to go down 2-1? And I think that's what you guys were talking about. So I will give that caveat.
That's kind of where it's at. Are they mentally there? Because they invested in this. And now they find themselves tied 1-1 with a team that just a few years ago people were saying you don't want to be that team. What about you, JB Smooth?
This is a swish for me, and I want to play this quick clip for you guys. Hopefully it's the right one that I picked out from Easy posting stuff from last night when they were talking about the Pistons in the Knicks series.
I'm not worried about going to Detroit, though, and getting a win. You took one from us in the Garden. We're going to take one from you in what, Little Caesars Arena? That's cute.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Now
shit.
I don't want them to.
I don't like that shit.
Ashley,
No.
Nicole Moss, shut up. No.
Who the hell? Who the hell is that bimbo
Right,
being
who
on
is
air?
that?
Who's that bimbo being on air?
I don't
Stop
like
it.
that. I don't like that shit. And hopefully the Pistons players
Know your
seen
place.
this and heard
Fake
this.
ass Malik
So
Andrews.
you know what? Tomorrow
That's a
night,
good one. That is a
tomorrow
fake
night,
ass
put belt
Malik
to ass. I don't care. Embarrass the Knicks just off of that. I don't like that shit.
Hey, what up, though, Cavassier?
What's up?
They win Game 3. The Pistons will win the series. Not that the Knicks won't win another game, but that will be the death knell in this series. It will be the Pistons victorious. Game 3.
I'll say swish. I mean, I think it's the Pistons series either way. So I think Game 3 just kind of pushes the envelope. Ups the timeline of how fast they win the series.
Goodness. All right. So I was looking for some stuff in the chat, and I'm not saying swishers or bricks. I'm saying Xavier D say make her eat it. James, she's trying to be controversial to troll us. Like Randall Smalls, I don't like that tone.
Bro, she worked for CBS. That's all you need to hear. She worked for CBS Sports. But
What up, though, KG?
yeah, this is a swish. And to me, Game 2, if the Pistons win this series, will have been the most important game in this series. Because y'all know what I say. The playoffs is all about how many games can you win on the road. And for the Pistons to go out in the Garden after their showing in Game 1 in that collapse, let's just be real about it. The collapse in Game 1, for them to rebound and get Game 2 like that, you're looking at 2 home games now for the Pistons with this rabid crowd, with the referees seemingly not buying into what the Knicks are selling in terms of the flopping and all that shit. And I think they was a little too reliant on that coming in. Not only can they not find a solution for Cade Cunningham, but I think they know that the whistle not necessarily gonna be on their side in this one. So if the Pistons get Game 3, it's going to be really, really tough for the Knicks. And I understand there's still a whole series, but I personally feel if they win tonight, or tomorrow night, then yeah.
It feels like it's supposed to be today. I know they got practice today. Hopefully
Yeah.
we can get down there and get some sound for you guys and get some sights. The players out there, Jade and Ivy, he actually warmed up with the team. Not the full warm-up, but he did go out and do shoot-around with the team at the last game. So it's cool to see him and his rehab getting better. But JB Smooth, what friends we got to say what up, though, to today?
Let me see. Dr. Pearson buddies.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on experts.